Welcome to Quick Bytes, Qvive World News, a platform where truth, honesty, and transparency is manifested. Let's take a look at today's news. As Imran Khan recovers in hospital from gunshot wounds suffered during an assassination attempt, his successor has accused him of involvement in the plot to kill him. Shehbaz Sharif, who replaced Khan as Prime Minister in April following a vote of no confidence, claimed to have been part of a plot involving Rana Sanullah and senior army officers. Earlier this week, British police said as a petrol bomb attack on an immigration center in Dover was motivated by extreme right-wing ideology. The October 30th incident in the southern English port town left no one seriously hurt, and police said the suspect, Andrew Leake, 66, had acted alone, according to police. The police said there was no indication that the offender was working with anyone else and believed there was no threat to the public. China's president has called on world leaders to stop making nuclear weapons threats and prevent using them in Europe and Asia. Xi's comments did not mention specific countries related to nuclear threats, but world leaders have been discussing atomic arms more frequently in the past few weeks. Russian troops are on the verge of turning nuclear in Ukraine after an 8-month conflict. The group of 7 industrialized nations warned on Friday that Moscow would face severe consequences if it is used any chemical, biological, or nuclear weapons in its war with Ukraine. The Uttar Pradesh government announced on Monday that Yotta Infrastructures would build a data center in Greater Noida, one of the largest in the country and one of the first in North India. Sunil Gupta, the CEO of Yotta, has claimed that the data center is sustainable and runs on green energy, despite concern that the data centers are damaging to the environment. The data center is a physical storage facility for critical data and applications. As running one is resource intensive, investment stayed concentrated in Maharashtra due to state incentives. UP is now joining the fray. There are 161 data centers across India, including Alwar in Rajasthan, Alpuza in Kerala, and Amravati in Maharashtra. Climate finance. What India aims to achieve at COP27. Developing countries have miserably failed to meet their commitment at COP15 in Copenhagen in 2009 of mobilizing $100 billion per year by 2020 to aid developing countries in tackling climate change. As the 27th Conference of Parties to UNFCCC begins on Sunday, India will seek clarification on climate finance definitions and encourage developing countries to provide more technology and finance to combat climate change and disasters that can result from it. Let me share a video clip of today's UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's speech at COP26 last year about coronavirus and climate change and spoke about net zero.
Perfect. Thank you, Gillian, and good afternoon, everyone. Developing and emerging markets have been devastated by the double tragedies of coronavirus and climate change. Now, we have to make sure that the wall of capital we are building is there for economies that need it most. And if we're honest with ourselves, there have been years of rhetoric about turning the billions into trillions, and that rhetoric now needs to be matched with reality. The challenge we've got now, thanks to the leadership of many like Mark, is not necessarily the finance. What we need to do now is to match those investments with viable, bankable projects. So my question for this session is simple. What more are we going to do to support low-income countries who are trying their absolute best to transition to net zero or adapt to the consequences of climate change? We've got 2 panels coming up, one on the role of the private sector and the multilateral development banks and development finance institutions, respectively. I was just going to make 3 very brief points to help frame those discussions. First, we need MDBs to step in to help deliver the promise of $100 billion of finance for developing countries. The MDBs have a good record on this, and the joint statement is a great start. Now, we need full detail on the scale of the ambition to fully meet what developing countries are asking for, dramatically scaling up private finance to be mobilized. Second, country platforms have enormous potential to support the climate transition in developing economies. We've got to reduce the fragmentation we're seeing in the way that global climate finance currently works. These country platforms, centered around what nations tell us they need to implement their ambitious NDCs, will combine public and private finance with technical assistance, bringing enormous benefits from scale and coordination. Third, I'm pleased to say that the UK is making concrete announcements today on improving access to finance. As the Prime Minister just announced, we are providing an India Green Guarantee to the World Bank to directly unlock $1 billion for green projects across India. We're committing £200 million of international climate finance to the LEAF Coalition, a new billion-dollar initiative aiming to catalyse public and private finance to protect forests. And I'm also delighted to announce we're increasing by nearly £70 million our funding for the UK's international climate finance programme, Mobilist, with 3 new specific initiatives announced today. Together, these projects will help developing countries access new markets, create new green jobs, and grow their economic resilience. But I'll stop there and hand back over to, I think, our 2 brilliant panel chairs. Julian, is that right? Or am I handing back over to you? But so I'll hand over to you and to Mark and Minister Arbaleche to thank them for all they do. And again, thank you for all you do. Thank you very much.
In Madras High Court, Dhoni filed a contempt case against an IPS officer. He had sued Kumar, then linked Inspector General of Police and a television channel in 2014, alleging his name to the IPL match fixing scandal. 3 cricketers were arrested in 2013 by the Delhi police on spot fixing charges, including Srishant, Ajit Chandila and Ankit Chavan, all of whom played for Rajasthan's Royals. As the investigation continued, 11 bookies and actor Vindu Dara Singh were arrested. Names of some top IPL owners were also revealed, but the 3 cricketers were ultimately acquitted. Follow us on our social media platforms and log in to Qvive.in, prakashtv.in and unnatinews.in. That's all of the news for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.